You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. What me, it's your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. Yo, today we got a fire creator right here. Homie is a science fiction, fantasy, horror writer, right? But he got this dope collaborative project with the Unioverse, right? I mean, and he got a dope publishing press called Hex Publishers. What? My man wear many hats. Let me introduce this amazing entrepreneur, creator, writer, indie warrior, the one, the only Mr. Josh Viola. How you doing, bro?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for joining me and just hanging out, talk about this dope new project with Unioverse and all that you got going on, and Hex Publishing and all that good stuff that you got. So what's up, brother? How you doing today?
Good. Ready for it's Friday, so I'm ready for the weekend. So
let's get ready to rumble with this podcast. You get off on your weekend. Break that Henny or that beer or whatever is your vice. That water, I don't know, man. I'm not assuming.
It'll be all of them.
And fine, let's go. Yeah, you gotta have some water if you drink. All right, people, learn that lesson. All right.
Yeah.
So with that, Josh, let everybody know where you hail from originally and what was the first thing you ever fell in love with in pop culture.
Man, that's well, I'm from Denver. That's where I'm out of. Denver,
Colorado in the building.
Oh yeah. First thing I ever fell in love with. I mean, man, if I'm getting real honest, it's gonna either be a toss up between Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters.
Okay. Wait, which Ghostbusters? Because you're from the era that had both, I'm sure. The original Ghostbusters and then the Ghostbusters.
I'm talking about the 1984 film. I started watching that.
Oh, the film. So
real little. I was, but my arm is kind of a collection of my favorite things. I've got.
Wait a minute. Wait. Brother, Leo. You know what you're gonna have to do here. All right, we're gonna need to put that on the big screen, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So, but I've got those favorites. I've got Leonardo there. I'm still working on this. Then I've got another big favorite. I've got Arnold, Terminator. I've got Bill Murray.
Whoa! Look at that.
And then I've got Master Chief, Slimer.
Whoa!
Xenomorph. So all that stuff, everything on my arm.
Dude,
I've fallen in love with to some extent. So yeah.
Well, I hope you did, and that's not just like, hey, that's on the dare.
No. But yeah, they kind of make up my my pop culture, and more than that, the pop culture influence is just as I'm sure you understand, and people watching. This is what we live for. So
you have no idea. Right? I have been geeking out my past few days because I also grew up on G.I. Joe, the cartoon, and I'm a villains guy. So I've had the original Dreadnoks for a while. So I got my O-rings and fixed them, and all of a sudden, Josh, I got into a sudden obsession. Oh shit! I need to now get all the Dreadnoks. So right now I got all the vehicles.
Nice.
And I got everybody right now except what was it? War Pig and the other guy, like the Australian guy.
I'm not too. I'm gonna upset you. G.I. Joe's was I actually have a G.I. Joe story from a kid way back when I was younger. My parents got me. I don't even remember who it was, but G.I. Joe figurine. This is back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I was just absolutely terrified of the figure, and they realized when I started like doing something wrong, they wanted to keep me out of something. They would put him in the wherever.
I wonder where it was now.
But my mom was pregnant with my brother, and she was getting really sick, and I kept going into the fridge and grabbing like bologna and just stuff and eating in front of her, and it was making her nauseous. So they started putting.
Were you doing that on purpose?
No. I was pretty young.
There's also bologna soda now, right?
Oh, that's horrible. That's awful. But yeah, they put the little G.I. Joe character in the fridge to keep me out, and it worked.
Holy shit, that's just so
Yeah.
funny. That's funny. And now I must find out who is this. You know what? 'Cause in the negotiation tables, Josh, you shouldn't have let that out. They're gonna try to find this out, and when
Right.
you're negotiating one day, they're gonna bring out this figure, and you're gonna kneel down. Okay, just put them away.
Yeah.
$2, no problem.
Right. Probably. I wish I could remember, but I was pretty. I don't honestly.
You
These
don't want to remember.
put it out of my head. Yeah.
That's awesome, brother. Did you have a tribe growing up? Were you a single kid, a lonely child, or did you have siblings that loved this, or did you have a tribe in school? How was it for you in your geek?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a little brother, and we both, we're 3 years apart, so
Okay.
we were very much into the same stuff. I grew up in a little Nebraska town. I didn't move to Colorado till I was 10.
All right.
But like in my little neighborhood, the town was like 1,400 people, very, very small, very closed off from things. And I swear, I mean, very vivid memories. I was just alive at that time in that neighborhood, and everybody loved Ninja Turtles. Everybody loved Ghostbusters. It was like, late 80s, early 90s, and that's everybody was into it. And then I moved to Colorado, when I was 10. And then it was like Power Rangers were the thing when I got here. That's kind of like how I associate those things. But yeah, I mean, all my friends, my brother, we all grew up on that stuff. Any Nintendo, NES, Super NES. So it was all that stuff. Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to get this new version. I can't wait to kick people's ass with this one.
There you go. Yeah,
I'm talking shit though. I'm the most horrible player in the world. So just
you're probably better than me.
Well, listen, my wife used to be just a button smasher and just kick my ass. So you told me right there. It's like, I used to get so mad and be massively technical, and she's button mashing and kicking my ass. I'm like, what the f, bro?
Yeah, no, I'm a button masher and I suck. So.
But as a button masher, that might be my kryptonite.
Yeah,
Shit, no, button mashers are my weakness. No.
Yeah, we should play.
Yeah, you might feel good afterwards. Like, yeah, I beat out that mother. All right, so how did this lead into your creative journey? Loving all this good stuff.
I've always been an artist and a writer from as early as I can remember. I loved drawing, the stuff that I loved, and writing little stories, and I got into.
Was it encouraged?
Yeah. My parents have always been. My whole family's been very encouraging. Actually, my grandmother, she was the one actually that got us. Really influenced us with. I mean, we went to her house to watch Ghostbusters. She was the cool grandma on the block that had the Super Nintendo and played Donkey Kong, and still to this day, she still plays Donkey Kong Country. That's like her thing.
And probably beats everybody ass in that joint.
She's pretty good. She got in like back in the day. That was she was the cool grandma. All the kids came over. We all played there. But yeah, they encouraged it. And yeah, creative. I mean, when I got into that as early as 5th grade, I was writing, I didn't know what the term was then, but fan fiction, so I was writing sequels to my favorite movies. I remember 5th grade, I wrote a sequel to Jurassic Park, after the first one came out.
Oh, what? You did the original sequel?
I did. Yeah.
Man, you need your money, yo. What's going on? Was it close to what the movie was?
Oh no! I was
hell no.
I was in 5th grade. I would focus on a scene. It wasn't really. I didn't understand story.
It wasn't
structure
a movie. Gotcha. It was just a scene that this motherfucker.
But I was like I was focused on mood and setting and all that stuff. But as I went through, high school, I would do. I wrote sequels to The Crow and Aliens and stuff like that, and it was just a big creative outlet. And then I would accompany that with art.
As you were, finding all this, did you find comics at that time to relate to, or this was all the love out of the visual TV movie stuff?
Movies are definitely more have always been and continue to be my thing. But I mean, comics is. I mean, I was talking to somebody else about this. My vivid memories of comics are grocery store, racks. Like that's back.
What is with you guys in these fucking racks? You guys are killing me on that side of that world of America. Everybody I had a comic shop, great, yeah, but I didn't find them until later in life. But I never had an effing rack. I never just walked into some place and saw a rack. Like, the first time I saw a rack was in a fucking airport, bro. That's how I
Wow.
picked up my first comic that's hanging on my wall right now.
Wow. Yeah. No, I mean, that was like, there was no care for, because it was just a grocery store. They didn't care. They were
Wow,
bent
I
up and,
wish bodegas had that
but
shit
it was
here back in
cool
the day.
because I would go down I remember I'd go down the aisle. It was like where the school supplies were, and they had the Trapper Keepers, and then
Oh my God, Trapper Keeper, he said.
yeah, and then the folders with like the cool. I remember they'd have like
graphics,
orcas on alien planets, floating through the sky, and then next to it was the rack of comics, and then my cousin, he was the one that really introduced me to he had this old blue briefcase that he stored all his comics in. He's like 10 years older than me,
Okay.
So he was
He
probably
put
15.
them in a briefcase. He walked around with this briefcase. This is my collection.
he did, and he made me think that every comic book would somehow be worth a fortune. And he believed it too. So he's just buying all these stuff and stacking them in this briefcase. And he'd show me, and he's like, "This one's going to be worth a lot of money," And I was like, "Oh my God!"
He may have been right. Maybe he had gems. Do you remember any gems?
I don't.
Top of your head.
From him, no. And where he's at now, he didn't cash out on anything great, or they're probably all moldy and yellow pages and curled.
Also, you never go to a comic shop to sell. This is why Whatnot and eBay and all that stuff is wonderful and a hip comic to sell stuff, because at least you get some better money than a comic shop would go and say, yeah, this is worth $10, and next day they're selling it for $200.
Right. Yeah, and I've never sold any of my collection. I mean, I don't think I would, unless I was like, some terrible something happened. But
listen, comic books have been a big part of my life since a kid, bro. I've been slinging comics since like 5th grade, bro.
Nice.
For real.
Yeah.
Making money off of them, and
oh wow, yeah,
and then comic books have always saved. This is why this is the tribute to comics as a whole, because they've always saved me. When I've been in a financial bind, shit, let me just list this. I happen to have something that, to someone is a treasure, thank God. And boom.
That's great. Yeah. I'm too much of a, I've definitely, I've admitted that yeah, that's a nice way. I'm an organized hoarder.
No, you're a comic book archivist.
Yeah. But it goes beyond that, because I have massive book collections, figures, movies, video game consoles.
Bro, you're lucky I didn't put you close to this, and I have a mess on the side. Like I said, I've been getting my these are my 2 favorite Dreadnought vehicles, my brother. I mean, the Dreadnought motorcycle. Look at this thing. I mean, how dope is this?
Awesome.
And then the Thunder Machine, bro. I mean, totally Mad Max on this, bro.
Oh yeah, very cool.
I mean, look at the machine guns on this. This is Mad Max. It's like, when I see Dreadnoughts, I think Mad Max. That's my shit, bro.
Very cool.
Shit, all right, yeah, this is why I'm digging this universe. This Max Matters with techno vibes and all that you're doing over here. So let's start getting into that creation. So you started getting into the business. How so, bro? When did this become real?
Man, I mean, it all kind of like comes together. I started in video games. This was I was hired on.
Wow.
God, 2000. Everything, like, I've talked to, since 2020, since the pandemic. Okay. My sense of time is just, it's all a big blur.
Yo, it's like this, isn't it?
It totally is. Yeah.
For me too. Especially, I live on my own and I'm doing this and I have a day job, but time just flows. Like, I rest when I do and I get back to what I do.
Yeah, it's crazy. Weird. But I want to say it was 2004-ish, somewhere in there. And I was hired on as a artist working primarily on licenses, of different properties. So I worked on Pirates of the Caribbean titles, Target Terror, Smurfs, things of that nature. And then I actually got offered a job to teach game art and design, because I was hired as an artist. I was working as an artist. But at the same time, I had developed, while I was in school for my college for my thesis program, I had developed a story. And I got into I never went to school for writing, but I got into a program with Steve Alton. He's the writer of the Meg series, the big Jason, the Megalodon shark, Jason Statham. Yeah. So movies very different than his books, by the way. But So I got into kind of this coaching program, and he advised me on kind of a process for writing a novel. And so while I was working in video games, I was writing this novel, and then a music label of all things published my novel.
A music label.
Yeah, so Fixed Music, which is owned by Cell Dweller. He's the guy that he scores all kinds of video games. He's currently scoring the Borderlands movie that Eli Roth directed.
Oh, well, Eli, I love Eli Roth movies. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Eli's the man, kiddo.
Yeah, he's scored Transformers, Ninja Turtles, stuff like that. But
nice.
They published it. I was working at the video game studio, and I got we got a deal set up where they translated my book into a 3D comic app way back when the 3D comic apps were like, we were one of the first. And then the music label also, we got music license, and it was this like big conglomerate of things that just happened. And then yeah, eventually I got my rights back to that book, and I started getting into short fiction, writing short stories, getting them published in anthologies. And I decided I wanted to put together a publishing house that focuses on the intention was to take my novel and republish it. And I just got into publishing anthologies and other writers, and it really took off. So that's sort of been the focus. And then I left video games. And actually my former boss, who co-founded Random Games, which is the studio behind the Unioverse, he co-founded that with Tony Harmon, who was part of the main development team of the original Grand Theft Auto, Donkey Kong Country, Crackdown, all these big titles. So they reached out and they were like, "Hey, we're going to be working with Brent Friedman, the narrative director of Star Wars, that wrote Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Halo 4, Call of Duty. Do you want to work on this project from a narrative form?" And I was like, "Of course I do." So yeah, it's been a long process, but I've been publishing a variety of things from short fiction, novels, comics, and a lot of stuff that kind of media tie-ins with.
So, gotta ask you, what came first? Was it the Unioverse app or was it Hex Publishers?
Oh, I started Hex Publishers way back in 2015, I think. I shouldn't say way back. I guess it's not that long ago.
Wait, listen, but it is. But time is flying, kiddo. You know what? That's 8 years ago at this point. It is. Yeah. It is a way back almost. That's a big kid right now.
Yeah. No, the Hex Publishers was founded then. Our first main anthology was Nightmares Unhinged, and that cover art was actually licensed by AMC for promotional purposes for Fear the Walking Dead Season 2. So we got a really big push from them from a marketing standpoint, and then that really helped things take off from there. And I've been publishing a few anthologies and some novels and comics every year. But then I got more into these media tie-ins. So, and that's where the Unioverse kind of fits in. They reached out to me a little over a year ago, so I've been working with the development team on that ever since.
Awesome. Let's start teasing a little bit. Let's get it go. You saw that awesome background art. I mean, that shit is fire. So talk about it. Jump into this Unioverse. For those not in the know, what is the Unioverse, and how excited were you to take part in this, baby?
Yeah, it's great. It's a really awesome, complex science fiction based story. And Brent Friedman developed the overarching kind of umbrella or narrative structure for that. And so the studio just released real recently the first playable alpha for the game. So you can download the game and play it, the equivalent of a demo. And you can play as Reyu. That's the alien looking dude, kind of xenomorph.
This guy right here?
Predator, like, yeah, that's Reyu.
I love that dude, though, yo. It looks so sick. I'm so into this techno, type, look vibe, that organic, you know what I mean? It looks so crazy.
Yeah, the designs are cool. And some of the heroes we haven't launched yet look, they're all amazing. But the gist of the story is that in the future, human astronauts discover some old ancient alien tech on Mars, and they accidentally kind of turn it on and activate it. And what it does is it transports somebody's consciousness from there and all the way somewhere out into the cosmos, and the main character for the backstory, Malcolm Orion, the astronaut, he wakes up on a space station and he doesn't know, what's going on, how he got there. And he starts to put things together and he realizes that his consciousness has been transported into a clone of his original body. And that's kind of what takes off. And the main story takes place about 500 years later, where we introduce these heroes and we have this reconvergence where there has been this connection. All of these old ancient tech devices on these various seeded planets start waking up, and it brings together all these different aliens. And then, of course, in the comics, we develop the heroes behind the story and introduce the villain.
Holy shit, you're tickling my fucking brain here. I'm more up for this, yeah. So, how familiar were you with this universe prior to them even offering up to you, or are you part of the creation of the mythos?
I was part of the creation of the mythos, so they reached out.
Oh, even bigger! What? Oh my God! Yeah. The universe building, bro. That must feel crazy.
It was insane. So I was one of the main team members on there, with the intention of working towards building out the anthology that we're releasing soon in the comics. Right. But I got to work directly with Brent Friedman, Angie Hodap, Andy Baker, Wyeth Ridgway. A variety of people on the team, and it was for the first year a very intense, massive undertaking, and there were a lot of rewrites and a lot of back and forth. So it's it's been quite the process, quite the collaborative and learning process too, because we had to rewrite the comics many times.
Why? Why would you say that? What happened? But was it the origin story? Things not lining up? What was it?
Well, this is the craziness of working in a studio with a number of collaborators. So we would think that we had the narrative in place, right? And then if I missed a story call or something, one time, literally, the art director introduced this new weapon for one of our heroes, which looked cool and awesome and stuff. But what that weapon did totally changed the narrative and the backstory for that character because of its importance to the story. Things like that, kind of like these random anomalies would be introduced, and it would involve a lot of rewrites. So we felt like, in many ways, it was like wet cement for a while. And then eventually it started to harden, solidify, and we were able to build up on top of it. But it was but the back and forth ultimately resulted in a better product, I think, a better, stronger story.
So building this universe, was this something that was being done, with a physical team on site, or based on the current situation, was this like all remote, and having to build that universe like that?
A combination. So I'm in Denver. The main studio is in Boulder, which is, half an hour away. That studio, we have, I want to say 15 or so people there, but then there's roughly like 80 additional people from all over the world that are, working with the on-site team through Slack and so on. I mean, our art director is in Canada. Our main concept artist, Stuart Jennett, he's in the UK. Our one of our marketing people is in Italy. So it's
worldwide team, baby.
In New York. Yeah. So pretty cool.
So talk about, going from being this video game guy, author, and now doing a comic. Because I'm gonna just show the cover and maybe the first 2 pages. I believe I have it. Yep, there we go. Look at, first of all, that dope cover. Jesus Christ.
AJ Nazzaro did that, so he's a super talented guy. Yeah,
that is just so sick.
He's one of the
I want this action figure.
Right? Yeah, tell me about it. There's conversations, so we'll see what happens.
Bro,
yeah, he's a cool design.
This is soft porn, bro.
Yeah, AJ did that. He's one of the artists on Hearthstone, Overwatch. He does a lot of video game based stuff, and we're friends. And I roped him in. He did a great job. Some of the later covers, like, oh my God, they get better with each issue.
And I love this one, the black and yellow, because I always say it represents the comic crew colors. I'm gonna call him Comic Crusader Reyu.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so those are cool because that's our for print only Our legendary editions, they're like randomly fulfilled, so there's like an 18% chance you get the gold edition, which is signed by the team.
Oh, word.
So,
Oh, man, I want that because that reminds. That's how I want my figure too, in that color scheme. Fuck yeah, bro.
yeah.
But then just look at this, folks. I'm only gonna tease first 2 pages. That's all I'm gonna tease. But again, look how beautiful this book is done. I mean, how fun was it to create a comic now? And then the transition, was it easy for you?
Well, I've done some comics before. This
Okay.
one was a different process in that the artist that I found, Ben Matsuya, who we're looking at his art now, he's great. Best artist I've ever worked with. Not only is he just an awesome person, but he gets sequential storytelling better than any other
Beautiful.
artist I've worked with. And he's a one-stop shop. So he's doing, composition, pencils, inks, colors, and letters, and he does them all really well. So he's super great to collaborate with. We actually have a number of projects that we're working on together in the comic book world coming up soon, beyond the Unioverse. But yeah, I mean, the process of working with him was very different than other people that I've worked with in that sense. And I've enjoyed everybody that I've worked with, but the flow, I guess we're just kind of on the same, like, we both understand sequential storytelling and the importance of story. And he's just like,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
look
something
at
that
it.
he gets it.
It's beautiful. I mean, look at the panel usage, the word bubbling. I mean, just how everything is moving. It feels cinematic. Also very video game-ish, in those sections. Like
Yeah, there
here,
was,
you know what I mean? It
yeah,
is video game-ish inspired for sure.
yeah, a lot of
And I
back
like
and
that.
forth on the getting the art, the style, his style to mesh with the style of the video game. Obviously it's different, right? But there was quite a bit of work to get it there, because his style is actually a little more animated. This is actually a grittier, more kind of realistic style than what he typically does, which is more animated, exaggerated proportions. But yeah, Ben's great, and it's been a great
Who's your
process.
letterer, man? Because your letterer doing
That's him. He does it
him
all.
too.
It's one.
Just
Yeah,
Jesus,
yeah. That's what I mean.
amazing.
He's
I
a
love
one
this.
stop shop. Yeah,
I
he's
love this motion here, the way that it just flashes through the page. It's such
yeah,
eye candy, bro.
yeah. And oh man, again, wait till you see later issues. It gets crazy. There's some fun
so
stuff.
so 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 how far are we? How often is this dropping? Because we need this in our lives, apparently.
Where I use that now, and we have six comics that will be released in total before we collect them. And the next one is Krisha, and that's out June 6th, so like 4 days from now. And then each
Great.
month after, we'll have the next issue the following month, until October, when the 6th and final is done. So the first 5 issues highlight the 5 main heroes from the game.
Okay.
And they're short one-offs, but they are all connected. And then in the 6th issue, we bring them all together, introduce the villain, and it's a large triple issue.
I love villains. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
So let's get it, because you got Reyu, Krisha. You said Torgret,
Torgret,
Anil, Vela Janks, and the villain Silas. Kyric.
Yep. Yeah. And he's a fun. So the story, the little bit of teaser that I can give you, when for what the villain is, what he's after. 500 years ago, when that astronaut jumped and restarted all of this ancient alien technology and connected everything, unknowingly, he did this, but what that caused was it allowed all of these other planets to connect and have this reconvergence and kind of establish this, like the UN of the universe, right?
Yes.
So for 500 years, it's like this big political entity that pulls in all these universes. But we find out later that Silas, his species, his people were a hive mind. So they were connected through their minds, and they were spread out across the universe. So Silas could be on planet A, and his mother could be on planet, F, very far away, but they were connected psychically. So when this technology was reactivated 500 years ago, it sent out a frequency and a signal that destroyed his hive mind. So in a flash, in an instant, it cut all of his people off, and they lost, because that was their major form. There was no technology for communication. It was through their mind, and they were lost in an instant. And now Silas 500 years later, because he's extended his lifespan, he's on a mission to now go in and shut down the technology and revive his hive mind. And he finds that each of the heroes that we're highlighting, he's able to tap into, so he can see something that I don't want to give it all away, but bringing them together is a huge advantage to him to accomplish his goal.
Oh, I'm digging. This is right up my alley. I'm digging this whole shit, bro. What? So once we get past the 6 issues, what else we get? Is there more planned, or you waiting to see what happens with this?
Sort of. We have coming out in August, so about halfway through our release of the comics, we have the anthology. So that's a book, and it does have illustrations, but it's not a comic. It's a prose, your written stories.
Oh, what? Oh, bad.
So we have a number of short stories coming out by different authors, and some of them dive into the heroes, and some of them tie a little bit into the comics, and some of them explore completely new stories and characters that haven't been introduced. But they're by,
amazing.
Stephen Graham Jones, who's the writer for Earth Divers, that's out now through IDW. He contributed a story. We've got Kevin J. Anderson, who has written a number of Dune novels and Star Wars novels. He has a story in there.
Ooh.
A lot of fantastic writers. So we're releasing that in August, and it really dives actually much deeper into the Unioverse than the comics. And if things prove to be successful, we've definitely already had conversations about continuing the comics. So we'll see.
I am digging this. So video games, comics, prose, what's the animation, movies, you need an alien, I'm here for you. What's up, bro?
Yeah, we they're going to be dropping the trailer soon, and the trailer is pretty phenomenal. It's pretty crazy. So I can't wait. I don't know when that's dropping, but it's pretty soon.
Oh man, I can't wait. So besides this, let's just get into this is the Hex Publishing site, folks, right here, hexpublishers.com. Look at this, yo. You can check out everything they got. Look at the little teasers on the covers that we were just talking about right there. Woo! What?
Yeah, they're fun. AJ did a great job on the covers. Very cool.
You ain't lying. Huh? Yo, Tor great, look dope. I know, like somebody you don't even want to F with at all.
Yeah.
There's the last guy you want to make upset coming through with that hammer. Holy shit, bro.
That was one that talk about the changing the Anil was changed to be a female early on, so she very much is a female, but we were writing for a completely different mindset originally.
Wait a minute, you have a trailer here? We're gonna have to show that off,
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do it. You hear it, right?
Yep.
Yo, this is up my alley, yo. Wow. Just wow. That 3D, that was gorgeous. And purposely does not show us the 6th issue.
Not yet. Big reveals coming soon. Yeah.
You're not gonna know who the hell this villain is, but listen, if these are the folks that got to step up to the villain, look how they look. I can only imagine the badassery of the villain.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool design. He was a lot of fun. Angie Hodap and I, who co-wrote the comics with me, we had a lot of fun because we were given the task. The heroes were sort of kind of we were involved helping shape them, but they were kind of already defined. But they gave us the opportunity to write the villain, which was a lot of fun. So we had,
bro, you're
it
a
was
villain maker.
Cool.
You're my
I'm
type of homie, brother. Wepa, yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. It is fun to write villains. You know, they're
deep,
complex
man.
villains.
Yeah, villains are, I think, much more complex, and sometimes are they really villains? Because you can relate to their stories so much. It's just, damn, why you gotta go such a fucked up route sometimes?
Right.
You know, but you could, I think people could really connect with villains more than they can with heroes, because there's no such thing as that righteousness anymore. That Supermanish type of heroism, that's not real anymore.
Yeah, I definitely think if they're written well, you can at least understand why they're doing what they're doing. You know, it's not like so like out of the box, like strange. You know,
exactly.
So that's what's fun. Trying to make sense up the reason behind their villainy. Kind of makes sense. You know.
All right. So without giving away too much, can you tell me maybe who did you maybe dig into in your plethora of pop culture history to create your villain?
Man, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it was just kind of subconscious, right? You're just, I personally, I mean, what we said, and I don't know if we accomplished this. I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but we were like, we need to create the Darth Vader of the series, like that. We want this iconic character that holds that kind of weight. Although Vader's persona and all of that stuff had nothing to do with his influence, but I kind of think that the cinematic version of Thanos was certainly there, because again, we were thinking about why he was justifying what he was doing. It's this bad thing, right? And it's going to hurt and affect a lot of people, but his reason for it kind of makes sense. So I would say that, yeah. So I think that maybe Thanos played a bit of a role. But what we really had fun with was creating the backstory, which gets to play with the whole alien, hive mind thing. That was a lot of fun. So
yeah, I can't imagine that just one day. It's like, imagine right now if the world would be cut off from cell phone and internet service.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, folks. See, that's our hive mind right now. Mm-hmm. And soon, if we're able to project our energy, if we're listening to the real shit, one day we could project our energy. I don't know, man. If we're beings of energy, there must be a way to project. And I'm sure that there's just things that are just no longer, that are lost in history that we'll never know about.
It's a crazy, I mean, we talked about that. I mean, essentially, like, this is shutting off their neural net.
You're done. You're going back to the 80s, kiddos, when somebody said, I'll be back later, you ain't know where the F they were. They'll just be back later, God willing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, and it didn't seem like anything then, right? But now, I mean, it's like a terrifying prospect. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, isn't it crazy? We're that era of kids then,
Yeah.
Well, we didn't, we were on the cusp of that. So we know both worlds. Right. I mean, would it really bother you that much? Be honest.
I mean, would it bother me so much? What I'm worried about is everything relies on that. So what does that do to get
you ain't lying
to things?
Bro, like, everybody, all these companies want us to connect our cell phone numbers to our accounts. But listen, we pay a bill for that phone. What if we happen to miss our bill that month?
I wouldn't have a problem with the social media being done and over with. God, I welcome that. But I'm saying, man, if you think about that, what that does to just communication for getting water to certain places, or the interaction in between.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, everything that we purchase.
But imagine just phones itself, just that. It'll be a nutty world once again. Chaos. No, not we. We survived once, folks. Don't get all crazy. Look back at your history books before they erased them.
Before they erase them, yeah.
Before they teach you how to live without the necessity for technology. You know what I mean? Before AI gets a hold of us. Man, I'm seeing crazy stories where they did some demo and the AI went against the user on the plan. So the plan was to destroy something in this demonstration. And that's what the AI was programmed for. But the end was up to the user. The user told the AI at that point, just when it was about to happen, you know what? No go. right? So the AI was convinced, no, this has to happen. All right, bet. He took out the user's station. Since he's programmed not to kill the user, so thought, okay, I mean, um, was taught not to kill the user, therefore shut the station down. Isn't that funny?
I mean, I've
smart.
read. I think we've got a little bit longer to go before we have to worry about it. People are really worried about it, but I find it fascinating that we're living in this right now.
You and me both. I'm a fan of Terminator, Matrix, all this shit. I mean, science fiction, and just to see like, wow, this movies influenced a lot of this shit, because all these scientists were kids one day that watched these films and said, yo, could you imagine? And this motherfucker said more, fuck imagine, I'm gonna make it.
Right. Yeah. James Cameron inspired the end of humanity, basically.
Thanks, James. Mother.
Yeah.
Skynet is here, baby. Be careful, bro.
but it is interesting. Like, it's fascinating that we're living in this time where there's this big transition. We're seeing it happen.
And it's too quick, though, don't you think? I mean, AI, you didn't hear about AI while we were locked down COVID 2 years ago. AI wasn't really nothing. Shit. Now come a year, and it's like, what in the F just happened? And then, NASA, military is using this. Huh?
I read something, and I can't remember, from one of the godfathers of AI, and he had an interesting take on it. And he said that we're seeing this acceleration in AI right now. Obviously, everything's happening and it seems very fast. But he said that we're actually reaching a point where he believes pretty strongly that it's going to plateau before we see another rise for some time. So it's like, all of this is hitting right now, but he doesn't think it's exponential growth. He thinks it's actually going to plateau fairly quickly before we see there's a lot more work that has to be done to really advance it beyond that.
It has to process the intelligence that it's collecting, and this is billions of people worldwide that it's collecting data from. So, I don't care how.
And most people are stupid, so that's why I'm not that worried.
No, but the AI won't. Wait, AI is gonna pick the right ones. Don't you worry.
Right.
That's gonna be the next book in the story here in the Viola-verse. The takeover AI, and she's gonna be nutty, man. I mean, we might be looking like Reyu right here in the future. I mean, I wouldn't mind, as long as I got my colors. As long as I got my colors, I'm good, son.
Yeah, I hear you. The armor would be sweet.
Yeah, for real. So what else we got planned outside of this Unioverse? I mean, do you have anything in the Viola-verse, personal that's popping that we should know about?
Yeah, I wish I could say I'm working with a very big writer on a new comic book series. I can't say what it is or who it is yet, but we're going to announce it in July. So keep your eyes out. So we have that coming out. And then I collaborated with Clayton of Cell Dweller and Scandroid for his new album, his new Scandroid album. So I'm have a book coming out with his new album later this year. And then I have another thing I can't really mention, but kind of tease, a new comic book series that will come out next year that's tied into and related to a haunted attraction. So they'll be so they hired me to do this, and hopefully we'll be able to announce it soon.
Folks, you're hearing it here first. He's only a tease, like a stripper over here that keeps his clothes on, just teasing us. But you see, folks, you're getting it here first. He's teasing things that once you hear them blow, you're like, oh shit, this is what he was talking about on Comic Crusaders Podcast. Yeah, baby, I'm excited for you, bro. So
thanks, man.
Before we go, two more things. Number one, are you doing any convention appearances? Can we see you anywhere, man? Connect, man, whether it's video game cons, comic cons, movie cons. What's up, bro?
I am doing, so far this year, I'm only doing Colorado Festival of Horror, and that's September 15th through I think it's September 15th in Denver. So Colorado Festival of Horror, we're actually going to be debuting there that new comic that I mentioned.
Shit! Look at that plan in the future. See, he is from the future. He's Terminator over here, bro. Talking about the AI. That's why he's defending it. I'm only playing.
So yeah, that's this year. I don't have too much. I haven't done too many shows since COVID.
Yeah, you gotta make it happen, bro.
I got to get back into it.
Josh, bro. We need to be in the aura of the Violaverse, man.
Violaverse.
You're bringing to this, bro. You bringing some great stuff here, bro. The way you explain this to me, you got my mind like really tickled. Like I really want to dive into this. You got me really
awesome.
Curious about this awesome universe, bro. I'm into this type of stuff. So it's like, all right, just hearing you, I don't need to read no press release or anything. I'm just gonna go and pick that baby up off the shelf for real. All right.
Well, I hope you dig it.
And and lastly, any up and coming creators just coming up in the biz, trying to do something right now, coming in. What type of advice would you give them? Being in the game for a bit.
I mean, regardless of what it is, do it. I say this all the time, and I mean it. Like, do it for you, and don't stop. And look for that feedback, that hard, the whether it's good or bad, and take that and learn from it and build on it, and make sure you're hungry for it. I guess the best advice that I have for anybody in any walk of life is that if you want something, nobody is stopping you except for yourself. Don't have a plan B, have a plan A, and make sure you stay on track. So that's
truth, baby. Exactly, man. Make it happen, to the best of your ability. And folks, this is what you gotta do. This is what I need you to do. I've been showing it off. You saw the dope website. Check out the Unioverse.com. All right. The links are below. HexPublishers.com. All right, check because you saw more. There's another awesome tease there, and I purposely didn't show it. I teased you. You saw it, and I scrolled up purposely because I need you to visit HexPublishers.com so you can see what they're talking about. Do you want me to tease you again what it was? Do you want me to show you again? If you go all the way down here, you see that video? Proving Grounds. I ain't going to show you. Get out of here. You're going to have to go visit the site. Give my homie some traffic, all right? And, of course, follow on the socials everywhere at Hex Publishers and, of course, the Unioverse. Show the love. It's some real shit. You heard it here, folks. This is wow. It's sci-fi. It's fantasy. Everything. It's fun, bro. It's video games. It's comics. It's prose. My God. We're going to get movies and cartoons, I'm sure, soon. Everything. This is a wonderful verse. Thank you, Josh, for taking your time.
Thank you.
Talk to me and present this to me because I'm in love, and I hope my Crusaders are too. So to all of y'all that tuned in, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You know what it is. Follow comiccrusaders.com. Follow all our socials. That's what it is, except YouTube because Comic Crusaders World, because we got an extended family there, which is undercovercaves.com. And, of course, check out my other podcast where we talk with entrepreneurs, coaches, and motivators at the Al Mega Podcast, a.k.a. the AMP, baby. All right? There we go. Thank you, everybody. Hasta la próxima. Much love. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.